So today is October 11th, 2020, and it was race number 3 of the VP Fuels WWT Heads Up Series, and it was during the import face-off event they had. And today was a deal where kind of a race week meets Heads Up race. It had kind of an interesting trip to the track today. I drive 40 some miles from home to the track, usually pretty uneventful. I usually stop halfway, fill it up with gas, and then just continue on my merry way, knowing that I'm going to burn another gallon or two to get there. So I should be down a couple gallons by the time I get there from a full tank. And today, though, I was exiting the highway to the gas station, and the car stalled. I was able to roll through a pretty busy intersection while the light was still green with enough momentum to get to a shoulder, kind of a safe place to start troubleshooting it. I start troubleshooting it initially as a fuel issue because it just seemed to kind of sputter and die. I'm thinking, okay, that's could be fuel delivery or something going on. And I had an issue with the relay yesterday, so I went ahead and just double checked the pump on that I had pressure at the fuel log on the carb. And sure enough, I did. So then I'm like, okay, so it's got to be a spark deal. So I start looking around for my MSD wires, making sure the 2-wire didn't melt on a header. Nothing out of the ordinary. No spark plug wires looked odd. So I went ahead and went to the MSD box, and I switched the rotary dial from taking 10 degrees out for starting it with the locked out distributor back to just kind of the normal setting where it doesn't pull timing at startup. And the car started, but I was on the side of the road for 5 or 8 minutes, so it's easily could have been heat related, although it was 82 degrees today. Being in the car, being around the car, the engine area, everything felt hotter for some reason. Like it was a much hotter day. Just everything about the car seemed hot. So I get to the gas station after I got it running. I pump my gas. I close it up. It's an aeromotive tank, so everything's behind the license plate like the OEM location. I go in and get my drinks and my ice. I come out, and there's gas pouring out of the vent tube onto the ground. And I'd seen this one other time during race week. But it was much hotter then, and the car had been running for hours. Like this car had only been running for half an hour, maybe 25 minutes. So I'm surprised it was behaving that way. So I let the attendant who's out there working the trash cans know, hey, I dumped some gas out here from the pressure. So I opened the cap to relieve that pressure so it quit gushing out of the vent tube. And so I drive the rest of the way to the track after that. The fuel smell is getting a little less noticeable the closer I get to the track, thankfully. It was pretty fumy for where it leaked out and got on the tire a little bit. So you could really smell it. A lot of raw fuel. And the car just seemed to be running off today. Just something seemed different about it. So I go in and I do my first round. I missed the chip draw, so they're like, okay, we'll let you have a bye. Since there was one other guy with a bye and they thought I'd just knock him out, and they didn't want to do that to him either. So they said, just have a bye, that's fine. So I just ran the car with mufflers, and it was a turd pass. That car almost stalled taking off. So off to the pits I go. I'm going to get ready for the race. Second round. So before I raced the Mustang, I had to do some soul searching as how I was going to make this car do something, because that turd pass was just that, 11 something, and the car almost stalled. So I thought one thing I could do, take the mufflers off. We're going to have open header at least. But then the other thing I thought to myself, if I have a fuel problem with with boiling over from the rear tank, then I could run off my nitrous tank. It means I'm not going to be super fast, single digit kind of guy with the nitrous on, but I would be competitive on the motor. So I have some redundancies built in the car, and I'm able to just move some fuel lines around and sure enough go from one regulator to the next. And I'm running on the little tank. So I get up to the line, I feel like I cut a good light, and I look over to my side at the finish. I thought it was going to be a replay of the day before where I gave it away. I didn't let up this time, of course, and I just squeaked it out. His car has a 250 shot, and he thought I treed him. He thought he spun. If you look at the video, you don't see any part of his car until mid-track, and then you see the quarter, and then you see it disappear as he starts pulling on me again. So I don't know what he's doing timing-wise, but I don't think his car and his light was terrible. You can see my light was pretty darn good at an 043. So I squeak by this round, and I move on to the quarters. So the round 3 chip draw goes pretty poorly, I think. I draw an out-of-town LS powered 5th gen Camaro. I'm having problems with my car today. I'm only able to run NA, and I'm still fighting through some gremlins. So yesterday when I left the track, I was fooling with the wide open throttle switch and just making sure it worked. And I think maybe I just didn't have the switch on all the way. It's one of those with the protector on it. It shuts off and pushes the little switch underneath down, but opening it, there's a possibility to not turn it on. So when I was fooling with that, I think I shot some nitrous in the engine while I wasn't running. When I went to leave, 10, 20 minutes later, the thing had a kind of a backfire, and I think I blew out the cap on the 3/8 vacuum port on the carburetor. So I noticed that between rounds 2 and 3, and I keep caps like that. I've got an assorted little bundle that you get from AutoZone or whatever in my tote for race week, so I'm able to cobble that together and cure my little RPM problem, because when it was idling really high, and I was like, what the hell? So I was glad I was able to figure that out. But not a lucky chip draw. I feel like if you watch the video that I tree the guy, which I think I was doing a really good job with the Pro Tree light for a foot brake guy, and I just didn't have enough for him, unfortunately. If I had him yesterday, it would have been a different story. Unfortunately, today I was a little bit neutered, just doing an all-motor thing. He ended up winning the event, so I feel like I probably could have made the semis or even the finals against him with the right pairings.